As almost all of you have heard, I'm on a budget on this trip. So after leaving the Grand Canyon, I went to Mesquite, Nevada, and I had a very pleasant stay in the Virgin River Casino and Hotel. The rates there are just unbelievably affordable. For $34 a night, you can stay as a single person there. The room was relatively clean. It wasn't the newest decor in the world, but it was certainly better than most of my hotels. But I used Virgin River as a chance to recharge both sleep-wise and also my CPAP batteries and all my other electronic devices. One of those nights, I actually wasn't at the hotel. I went out and did night sky photography. And after looking at where the darkest skies were in the country, I made the decision to go out west Old Highway 91. And if you stay on that, headed northbound, you're going to end up in the Paiute Indian Reservation. But along the way, there were some really cool areas to get out in Fellman. And some of those were the Woodbury Desert Study Area, the Joshua Tree Natural Landmark, the old Spanish Trail Pack Mill Silhouettes. And I found a sign marker that said the old Spanish Trail. And so I made a right turn there and proceeded out into the desert. And I think that area is probably near the Revenant Trail bicycle facility. At the time, it wasn't the bicycle park that it is, but I ended up in a beautiful location. And while I was kind of stumbling around in the middle of the night out in the desert, I came across some Indian artifacts, which were pretty cool. I did really seriously try to get some night sky photography. Unfortunately, the Milky Way was really low in the sky, but I did get a little bit of Milky Way in the photos. And before I knew it, it was light and time to head back to the hotel. Then early the next morning, I headed out to continue the journey with the idea of the time difference to go from my part of Nevada, which is there in Mesquite, to Bishop, California, was only about 35 minutes longer to do the more unique way of driving in that, and that is to go up through Rachel, Nevada, go across to Highway 6, of course, through the silver mining country of Tonopah and into Bishop, the back way. And I'd always wanted to make that drive. Bishop has a very special significance to me. I was a follower and very much influenced by a landscape photographer named Galen Rowell. And he had a wonderful gallery there called Mountain Light. I'd been there several times. So I managed to stop by and pay homage on a previous trip to that gallery. Really, the whole Owens Valley has very, very special significance to me. It's one of the most beautiful areas in the country. As I make this video, I'm going to cover each section. If I run out a little bit of time, I will try to come back and put in some of the videos or the photos for an area. It is really a beautiful drive. And one of the first things that I came across when I left Mesquite is the Pahranagat Valley. And anytime you have water in a desert environment, it can be absolutely gorgeous. The Pahranagat Wildlife Refuge is a beautiful refuge. It would have been a place that I would have loved to spend a lot of time at. There's an upper lake, there's a lower lake. They're both really beautiful. As far as the wildlife, I kind of saw some familiar characters. I saw heron, I saw Canadian geese, but most are pretty common everywhere in the country. So I didn't see anything that unique there, but the whole location was just, here's this area of water. There's an upper lake and a lower lake that's really beautiful, and the wildflowers were beautiful. I would have loved to have had the time to hang out, but again, on this trip, I just wanted to get a little taste of Pahranagat Wildlife Refuge and then come back and view it another time where I could take some time to really savor it, probably camp. It is a beautiful, beautiful location. And as you go up the Pahranagat Valley, you'll come across eventually Alamo and then finally Ash Springs. Ash Springs is kind of the jumping off point for the Extraterrestrial Highway. I got fuel right there at the Shell station and then headed on across. The drive was actually beautiful. There's free-range cattle on either side of the road as you drive. The whole goal was to get to Bishop, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time in Rachel, Nevada. Actually, there wasn't a whole lot to see, just the sign, the Alien Inn, and just a few things like that. Not to disparage the people there or everything, but when you're trying to get to Bishop, you really want to savor the time there. And if you're not enthralled with the whole UFO alien thing, you're just kind of just see the terrain, see the country. And it was picturesque. I didn't eat an alien burger because I'd eaten there at Ash Springs. Well, here we are in Alamo, Nevada. That gas station there is the hot spot in more ways than one. That's where everybody goes to socialize in this town. They actually have a little cafe in there. I didn't realize that. And the food's pretty good. The cheeseburgers are under $5 for a double cheeseburger. And this is the only gas in 150 miles, so I filled up here. And again, nice view of the Shell station. Only gas stop around. I'm heading out on the Extraterrestrial Highway, and there's a big warning that there's no gas for 150 miles. I actually turned around and came back to top the tank off. I was also hungry, so this worked out well.